Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Crowded Booth Live. Bryce Kuhn, Will Manis, and Ralph Leary alongside with you. And I think we're already frozen here.
We are struggling
on tonight's show, which is fantastic. I can see you guys again. We do have some. We are struggling. We're struggling. Started a little bit late, but we're good to go. First off, guys, how are you? How was your day? Will, I know you just got done playing golf. What'd you shoot? Go ahead and let us know.
96. I gotta clean it up around the greens. My short game is terrible. My putting is terrible.
You can't hear me, Will?
I can hear you.
Just fine.
You're way behind. That's the
I
problem.
think Bryce is behind. I hear Bryce talking, but he's not saying anything.
Oh man, this is great.
Oh no. One day all this will work.
Oh, there he goes. Well, all right, Ralph. Well, you tell the people how your day was since Bryce is not here anymore.
My day was fine. I went to work as always this morning early. Got home, went to a little workout. I had to take my truck and get looked at, and just I was there for 2 hours for them telling me something that took 20 minutes. Yeah,
nice.
Just
gotta
everything
love
makes
it.
Everything makes everything so much easier when they say we'll be out in just a minute. And they say, you're sitting there for 30 minutes, and they're like, hold on, almost there. And it's 45 minutes later, you're sitting there like, eventually they're going to be outside, they're going to tell me what's wrong with my truck, and next thing you know, it's just going to be A-okay. Now I'm going to be in a hole after this week. So,
gotta love car mechanics. Well, Bryce, you were talking, so I don't think you looked at your phone. Bryce texted us and said he's going to produce it behind the scenes, so it's just me and you.
Oh.
So on the agenda today, we're going to talk about the MLB All-Star Game. Before we get going, yeah, there we go. All-Star jerseys. Ralph, I'll let you go first. What do you think about the All-Star jerseys?
I think I said there's only two words to really describe these jerseys, and it's lazy and terrible. Are we talking about All-Star snubs and surprises, or doing the jerseys first? I don't know.
We're talking about jerseys. Bryce will figure it out in a second.
The question says hot or not. They're not. They're horrible. They look terrible.
Not.
I just think, someone said these were, designed for Atlanta. I'm really glad. I hope they weren't, because that's even worse. They were designed for Atlanta this year, because I would not want Atlanta hosting the All-Star game with those ugly jerseys out there.
Yeah, I really don't understand the point of it. I think the All-Star jerseys in years past, being kind of the warm up, wearing them during the All-Star or the Home Run Derby, it's pretty cool, and it's cool to see them, cool to sell them, whatever. But during the game, everybody knows I'm the old man on the soapbox, especially about baseball. Yeah, Bryce gets the picture up on the screen. Those are horrific, to say the least. But everybody knows I'm the old man on the sandbox, on the soapbox, I should say. Want to keep tradition. I think it's really cool seeing the players with their traditional uniforms on, their team uniforms on, all mixed together. I think it's just a really cool look.
Yeah,
but go ahead.
I agree with you on that one. It's not an old thing. I think, wearing your own jersey during the All-Star game is just kind of cool. I feel like it's more representing your team, who you're there for, and the fans who voted for you want to see you in their jersey, not the custom jersey they wear for the Home Run Derby.
Yeah. It's the fans of your team that are voting you in.
Yeah. So
they want to see the recognition. They want to see their players in the All-Star game. Like, we want to see all the Braves players. The hats are far worse than the jerseys.
I don't have a big deal with the hats if they just took the star away. Take the star away, and I'm okay. Because I understand the logo on the side. That's normal. But the star in the middle just makes everything 10 times worse.
If that's the Rockies, why is the lettering red? I don't understand. I don't get that.
I don't either. It's just the whole thing with the whole entire jersey concept is that it's supposed to be, we look in years past, they've always kind of looked cool. I'm like, oh, those look good. But it's always been simple. It says American or National every year, and then they wear their own hats. Yeah. And if I had to see Ronald Acuna or Freddie wearing this hat with the Atlanta Braves logo on it, it's going to look terrible. It looks horrible.
I like that logo on the side, though. The actual All-Star game
logo.
I like
very
it.
Good. Now, we're not bringing those up, but I've seen some concepts, people who make their own jersey concepts for these, and I've seen some really cool ones, which I wish they would have used those, but obviously MLB is not doing that. So
no, MLB looks like they've decided to go with. Oh, Bryce, is he back?
Can you hear me?
He's back.
We hear you just fine.
We can hear you.
That was tough. We'll keep going. Just saying, then I'll give my opinion.
I was just saying it looks like Major League Baseball is going to go with an actual uniform for the All-Star game rather than players wearing their own team's uniforms.
Oh, God.
Well, and two guys, I mean, I heard what y'all were saying because I was behind the scenes. I mean, the hat to me, well, I mean, let's just be honest. The hat is I'm just not a big fan. The jerseys, in my opinion, are really, really bad. Like, these are bad jerseys. And I'm also in the company with everyone else, kind of what Ralph said, and then Will, you kind of pointed out too. The fans voted you in. You should be able to represent your team. Now, I get having like a All-Star game concept jersey, wear during the home run derby,
warm-ups.
But let's be honest, guys. This is really done to sell something else on MLB's part, to generate revenue.
Absolutely.
I'll ask you this. Would you guys buy an All-Star game jersey of your favorite, let's say, player? Would you buy like a National League All-Star jersey of like Ronald Acuna Jr. or something like that?
This jersey right here?
Not this year.
Just in general. Like, is that something that you would maybe go out and buy?
I mean, maybe like a few years ago when they had like some better looking jerseys, I would have bought like a Chipper Jones one or even a Mike Trout when he was a rookie or his first 2 years in the league. I would have bought one. But
the best one to me that comes to mind is those. It was mid 2000. I want to say 2006 when the Pirates hosted the All-Star game at PNC Park. They were actually orange. The National League jerseys were orange, I think.
Yeah.
But it had the bridge in the background. Or maybe my memories running together with when San Francisco hosted a few years after that with the orange. But
I don't think you're wrong.
I think you're right. Wrong. It's yellow though.
Oh, it was yellow.
It was yellow, but they do look good. It was for like the Pittsburgh colors. It was a yellow solid jersey with a red and black on the side on the sides, but they did look good. And then
my memory's probably running together, or maybe I'm just thinking of when San Francisco hosted a few years later.
I think you are, and those jerseys did look very good. I think that was.
Let's see if I can find those.
Let's see if we can find
those.
But those were the two that come to mind of being the best that I can remember of the last 20 years now.
Yeah, and it's I don't think that we've seen some jerseys like they had those like futuristic jerseys back in the 90s. I don't know if you guys have seen those.
Yep.
But like there's some that are just really bad. Like they're just really bad concepts and it's just not good. And I think this year they missed the ball and then they dropped the ball. And then also, I had seen some stuff in the works with the 1974 Atlanta Braves uniforms. They were going to try to do one combination all blue, one combination all red to honor Hank Aaron if the game would have stayed in Atlanta, which would have been really cool to see.
Which it should have.
Yes.
Just on that basis alone. I mean,
let's not get into that.
It's like it worked out. No, as far as Hank Aaron. It worked out. I mean, this is not the right way to put it, but it kind of worked out great for MLB. They decided, Atlanta, you got the new stadium, Truist Park, you're going to host the All-Star game. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, Hank Aaron passed in the offseason leading up to that, but it's just a perfect opportunity to all come together at the All-Star break and do a big dedication and ceremony of the impact Hank Aaron had on baseball. And it's just a huge missed opportunity.
Well, so you're exactly right. It's a missed opportunity on their part, and I think that's the big thing that keeps we've talked about so much, guys. Baseball keeps missing the opportunity to capitalize. We're going to move on. We're going to talk a little bit about the MLB All-Star Game snubs and surprises. So, obviously, the rosters were released this past week. I want to ask you guys first. How do you guys feel about the rule that there must be a member of each team in the All-Star Game? Now, the biggest thing is that there's going to be some snubs because a guy like Eduardo Escobar from the Arizona Diamondbacks was the lucky, commissioner's pick to be in because they had to have somebody. They do the fan vote now. So how do you guys feel like that? Or do you want to stick with that? Or you just think if, the Los Angeles Dodgers have, 7 out of the 9 players, they should be rewarded because the team was that good that year? I mean, how do you guys see that happening? Will, start with you.
I don't know. It was pretty cool a few years ago seeing Julio Teheran be an All-Star when the Braves were so bad. But Julio had a few years where he had all-star type numbers.
Type of stuff.
Maybe, yeah. So, I don't know Eduardo Escobar's stats off the top of my head, but I don't really have a problem with it because the All-Star Game is a celebration. Now that they've changed the rule and it has no impact on the World Series home field advantage, it's just a spectacle. So, it doesn't really matter. But I think it should be a guy whose numbers back it up, who's had an all-star type first half.
And the great example of that is a guy in Max Scherzer who did not make it. 7-4, 2.1 ERA on the season.
That is insane.
The guy should get in based off merit alone of who he is. I mean, this is a guy who's 7 straight All-Star game appearances. I want to compare these numbers for you because Yu Darvish, if you go in the order of the players voted for the first 5 starting pitchers, it went DeGrom, Gossman, Burns, and Woodruff. So based off of this, we're going to compare Scherzer and Darvish. Scherzer 2.1 ERA, Darvish a 2.65. The only thing that kind of hurt, Scherzer's leading in strikeouts, leading in walks allowed. He's got a higher F4 into this if you're in that kind of stuff. So the biggest thing, I know it's a coin flip, but the biggest thing, guys, is I think what hurt Scherzer was he went on the IL right around the voting concluded about 2 weeks ago. So that really did hurt him. And then, this whole commissioner's office is very interesting. The commissioner's office then selected after the players voted Zach Wheeler, Trevor Rogers, and Marquez, Yerman Marquez. Listen, Rogers and Marquez were the team reps, and then I get Wheeler's deserving choice. But the choice that I kind of disagree with was Alex Reyes getting chosen as a 4th reliever behind the player-elected Kimbrel, Hader, and Melanson. You don't necessarily need to fill the Cardinals spot because Nolan Arenado is your starting third baseman, and he's from St. Louis. I think that they could have gone I don't know about you, and Ralph, will open it to you. I just feel like we should reward a starting pitcher and their successful season as an all-star more than a reliever. And so that spot for that 4th reliever, I would just prefer to give it to a guy like Max Scherzer that's been really good this season.
Well, I think if you remember the All-Star game in D.C. when Scherzer opened up the game against Mike Trout, and the stadium everyone was standing up, applauding. They wanted the matchup, and that's something that Max Scherzer brings to the game, and that's why everyone wants to see him in the All-Star game. And for him to get snubbed at in the end because of the IL, him going to the IL, which really hurt him. It hurts the game, mostly for me. I think it really just is another missed opportunity because you had this commissioner pick so everyone feels better about themselves. It's like a, just a little trophy you get in the year. Like Trevor Rogers, he got it, but he's had an okay first half. He's had a really good first half for who he is, but, I mean, he's sitting there at 7-5 with a 2.2 ERA and 118 Ks, but, that's good, but it's also not better than what Scherzer's done and some other people have done. So –
well, you also got to consider who he plays for. He plays for the Marlins. They don't score a ton of runs. Yu Darvish plays for the Padres. They play most of their games against the Dodgers and the Giants in the NL West. So maybe that's why Darvish's ERA is a half run higher. But going back to Alex Reyes, I mean, if you want to give that spot to a reliever, why wouldn't you give it to Kimbrel? Kimbrel has been one of the best closers in the National League.
Kimbrel did make it.
He made it. Oh,
yeah, sorry. The player
I thought you said Reyes got it over
Kimbrel. No. I'm sorry.
So Kimbrel and Melanson were player pick or fan picks.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right.
So all pitchers were actually player elected. So it's Kimbrel, Hader, and Melanson, and then Reyes was the 4th one in that. And so what we were talking about is just you'd prefer the starters to that.
Well, we all know who I thought should get it over Alex Reyes if we're going to give it to a reliever. Saw him pitch last night, 1.8 ERA.
Yeah.
That's not is that not all-star level?
He would leave that makes Atlanta the leading team with those all-stars then, if he would make it.
Yeah, and isn't that weird? A team in Atlanta that struggled so much. I mean, I will say this. Freddie Freeman's caught fire. His average is sitting around 270 now, which is a little bit closer to what we've seen. He's starting to pick it up individually, and obviously he's the starting first baseman. No, there was a big conversation between him and Max Muncy because Muncy's had a really good season in his own.
But also, I want to say something real quick about this, and I feel like if you're going to be an all-star for your position – I think you should go for your position. Now, Max Muncy's played 4 different positions all year. Same with Chris Bryant. Chris Bryant's played the whole outfield, it feels like, first base occasionally and third base. Now, Max Muncy's played a lot of second base because of injuries, because Pujols has been playing first base. But Freddie's the only one who's played first base all year and been so consistent. Now, I know that doesn't really matter, but I just feel like that's one thing that should be put out. If you're going to play your position for the All-Star game, you should be playing that position majority of the year. And now I understand injuries and stuff happen. But
and then too, you talk about a guy in Justin Turner, which I know that we're not the biggest proponents of, advanced sabermetrics. I mean, they're obviously a part of the game. Justin Turner had one of the highest WARs in the National Leagues right now, and he didn't get selected. Austin Riley, a guy who is having a breakout season statistically, a big snub. But Chris Bryant gets it because he gets voted in as a third baseman when, like you said, Ralph, he's played a lot of left field as well. So I think it's interesting to see. the All-Star Game rosters. Here's some numbers for you. The roster includes 34 first-time All-Stars and players, which, guys, I think that shows you the growth of the game. And I think that's exciting from a baseball fan standpoint. You have 34 first-time All-Stars, 9 different countries. So you have obviously well represented from where they're from. The Red Sox lead the way. We talked about the Braves in the National League with 4. Red Sox lead the way overall, 5 All-Stars, Bogarts and Devers, and then J.D. Martinez, Matt Barnes, and then Nathan Eovaldi. So they are well represented. A Red Sox team that has made quite a turnaround after last season, leading the way in the AL East. When we come back, we're going to talk real quick about the Home Run Derby. Will Manis is going to give us a prediction of one certain player not making it out of the first round, although he's having a great year on a very bad team. Pete knocks over the camera. We'll be back here in just a second. You're watching the Crowded Booth live here on a Wednesday night.
Cook's Place began serving our signature hot dogs in 1985 from a cart on Broadway. We still serve the best hot dogs and scrambled dogs in town at the corner of Moon and Miller Road and at the landings. Our friendly staff won't let you leave hungry. Come in and eat to the beat with our 50s jukebox. Cook's Place, fast service, great people, awesome food. What are you waiting for?
We're back here on the Crowded Booth as we take a look at the Home Run Derby predictions, guys. These are most often known as probably the biggest. I mean, I'm a guy that I like watching the Celebrity Softball All-Star game. I think it's fun to see some of the people participate. But guys, we have the contestants. I'm going to read them off for you. So I want you to give me your sleeper pick to win it. And I don't know. I mean, Will's got a hot take for us, which should not be surprising to anyone who tunes into the show. But I'm going to read off the list nonetheless. So we have Shohei Ohtani, Trey Mancini, Pete Alonso, Matt Olson, Trevor Story, Juan Soto, and Salvador Perez. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, Ohtani might kill one of those kids in the outfield that's shacking with a line drive because his exit velo is ridiculous. But I'll start with you. Will, I want to set you up beautifully. We'll start with Ralph, and then we'll give you a full screen. We used to do that in the fall. Now everybody gets a full screen, so they're not as special. So I'll let you have that. But, Ralph, for you, I mean, you look at that list, Ohtani, Mancini, Alonso, Olson, Story, Soto, and Perez. I mean, who do you like coming out of the bunch? Because these are all guys that can really mash the ball.
I really like Trey Mancini. I think this is one of those things that is one of those dream seasons. You know, he's coming off of cancer.
Not for his team. We'll say that. Not a dream season for the team.
Not for the Orioles at all. But for him having a great year so far, I feel like. Look, Will, I know what you had to say in all your little one screen. Will,
you're buying. You're falling for it.
Hey,
you're falling for the story.
I'm saying it right now. When I said the Big Ten was bad at basketball, no one believed me. Who won the college of basketball this year, Will? Was it the Big Ten? No. God.
All right. So
Stevie will be one of the top guys in the home run.
Listen,
you're letting them take it to the freaking bank.
You're letting them pull at your heartstrings with that. You're just buying the story. No, I'm not knocking Trey Mancini. I'm not knocking anything that he's been through because it is remarkable, his recovery from cancer and to have the year that he's having. It's incredible. But he's in the Home Run Derby for a story, and Ralph is buying into the story big time. But how in the world this list that you read off is a classic case of one of these is not like the other, and that's Salvador Perez. How did he get in the Home Run Derby? Did they go that far down the list to find somebody to say yes? Because Acuna said no,
and Tatis,
Joey Gallo said no, Fernando Tatis said no.
Gallo is in it. I'm sorry, I need to add Joey Gallo is in it. Yes.
Joey Gallo. Oh, Mr. 763. Okay, that's my other hot take.
Vlad Jr.'s on it either, by the way.
Or Vlad Jr. I mean, how many people did they get to say no before Salvador Perez finally said yes? But my sleeper, I'm going Matt Olson. The A's have not represented very well in the Home Run Derby. I think Matt Chapman was there. Was it last year or 2 years ago? And he was a first round. 2 years ago, he's a first round exit. But I'm going to go Matt Olson sleeper. But if you want my actual pick of who's going to win, I'm picking Juan Soto.
Juan Soto. Guys, a lot of this has to do with the stamina of guys. I mean, we saw 2 years ago, back in Cleveland, Ronald Acuna Jr. was a guy that I think that he just started to match, and so did Vlad. And when you get into one of those high home run battles, I think it was Alonso and Acuna Jr. that just kept going back and forth early in the first round. They didn't have enough gas, obviously, towards the end. I think that was just something that they just kind of ran out of gas. I think when I look at this, Matt Olson is a sexy pick. I'm going Trevor Story. He's got snubbed as an all-star. He's playing – because, listen, we're in Colorado. The ball is going to fly. I'm going Trevor Story.
That's another gripe.
That's another gripe.
That's another gripe.
That's another gripe.
Where's my soapbox? How can you make
your
the home run
sandbox?
derby?
Your sandbox, I did hear that.
Yeah,
Where's your sandbox?
How can you be in the home run derby if you're not an all-star? This makes no sense to me. When did they change this?
I don't know.
It's part of the all-star festivities. Should be a prerequisite that you're an all-star to be in the home run derby.
2019. The only two players.
There you go. Another Rob Manfred rule change. Garbage.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Not 2019. This was previous. The only two participants to win the home run derby but not be selected All-Star game, Giancarlo Stanton in San Diego and Yoenis Cespedes. So there you go.
Okay, interesting.
There you go. But that's about it. That's all we got. The Wi-Fi was wild, and we're going to be back and sexier than ever next Monday. Isn't that right, Will?
That's right.
Will,
I'll have my sandbox. I'll have my sandbox on Monday.
We're going to get you one of those turtle sandboxes, that kids have when they're little, and just let you go. We're going to make a segment called Will's Sandbox.
Give me an ant farm.
An ant farm.
What? Are you going to stand on the ant farm?
Use your green screen and make an ant farm in the background for you. It's perfect.
Interactive ant farm. There you go.
Interactive ant farm, even better.
Perfect.
Beautiful. We appreciate everyone tuning in. We'll be back. This has been an interesting Wednesday night episode, but we appreciate you tuning in. Friday, we'll see you, and on Monday, we'll see you as well. Have a fantastic evening. And Will, last hot take for us before we get off. What you want to say real quick to the people?
As far as Crowded Booth goes, expect more of the same. Bryce is a totally different man now, so things are going to be wild like this is one way to put it.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. Good night, everyone.